Hello, my name is John. I am a pastor in Southern California. I've been serving in our church for about 17 years here in Southern California. And I just want to give you a brief introduction to why this channel exists and provide some clarity and encouragement when it comes to utilizing this tool, Planning Center, online. And so my role at my church as a pastor, I oversee our connections and our community group stuff. And so I see that as largely I'm trying to eliminate barriers to connection for people. So as they've taken the step to cross the threshold into our church to eliminate any potential barrier that people have, whether it's perceived or actual, to help them connect meaningfully within the church. And so about 9 years ago, maybe almost 10 years ago, I moved into that role of connections. I was a volunteer at the time, and when I moved into that role, we had already just recently, within a few years, had taken on and started using Planning Center online as a ministry tool, as a database tool. And so one of my responsibilities right off the bat was to manage that database and make sure that it's up to date and all that kind of stuff. And so as I started doing that, I just started picking away at all the features that existed there in Planning Center and seeing how all the different modules of Planning Center work together. And one by one started building a really robust system of how we utilize Planning Center with the picture in mind that this is really about people. It's not about the system, right? It's not about Planning Center. It is really about the people. And so my intention with this channel, as I've seen so many people have questions about how to utilize Planning Center, is to help provide tutorials and encouragement along the way as you serve your church families, how to serve them well. And so first I want to kind of an overview of why Planning Center, why a system like Planning Center. And so there are a few things that continue to be on my mind as far as why this is important. And so there's some different elements or facets of why this system is helpful. And so the first I'll talk about is this, care. Okay. Planning Center helps us care for people well and intentionally. It helps us know who your people are, helps us know how they're engaged in the church. It helps us know what their needs are and how we follow up, and do everything that we can to make sure that the people in our church are not overlooked. We're going to fail. We're going to fall short. That happens. But largely, we leverage this system to help us care well for our church family. And then it's connection. As people move from just visiting on a Sunday to being more meaningfully connected in the church, whether it's in a small group, whether it's serving in a community group, whether it's praying over them and connecting with pastoral staff or leaders, right? Connecting people who are visiting our church to groups and those group leaders with those people, helping people just get meaningfully connected within the church, because the church is, by God's grace, it's a means of grace by which we experience the work of the Holy Spirit and are ministered to by God through his people, through his church, right? And so a healthy church helps people get connected. So we've got care, we've got connection, and then it's communication, right? And so we've got list upon list. We can target lists to communicate to specific parties, make sure that parents are communicated with, make sure that parents and leaders are communicated with, whatever it is, right? There's messaging systems, whether it's the Church Center the Church Center app, being able to message within the Church Center app, or it's email communications to targeted people, or integrations with text services, or utilizing PCO's built-in text service, right? Communication. Everybody is bombarded by information from all over the place, and we're always vying for people's attention, just in short snippets, to be able to get important information across to help them get meaningfully connected within the church as we strive to care for them well, right? And then it's collaboration, right? We want to get our teams working together and on the same page and have the same site picture and work on projects together. The collaboration tools are okay. They have some tasks management stuff, which hasn't really been helpful yet at this point in time. But to be able to get people on the same page, we utilize some of the other tools. Like I have lists, for example, when I'm planning for our Easter service, I have a list that's generated of all the people who are regular at our church family that aren't already signed up to serve on one of our Easter teams. And I share that list with all of my team leaders. And I say, hey, team leaders, look through this list. If there are people that you know, go out personally, invite them, come and join your team and build your team out. And as that list kind of whittles down, and there are more people when I'm within a week, I start reaching out to people personally, or some of the other staff start reaching out to people personally themselves. And so we can collaborate in a lot of different ways, and then coordinate the services module. It's okay, sometimes hard to learn. Once you really get in there and get used to it, it's not so bad. But it is a great way, once again, to schedule our volunteers, to identify our volunteer needs, to regularly communicate with the volunteers, and solicit their response, to confirm that they're scheduled to, and get that on their own calendar, all that stuff. And so all of this together, right? The care, connection, communication, collaboration, coordination, all of these things, all the different aspects of Planning Center working together provide context of how people are meaningfully engaged within the church, or to what degree people are engaged within the church, and kind of helps us have a better sense of, okay, should we pastorally be leaning in a little bit more to care for these folks? And what are we seeing? But it's only as good as the information that we put into the system. And I don't want you to be overwhelmed by that. Just take one step at a time. It's my first encouragement to you. Organizational change takes time. Systems should develop gradually. You can't expect to bring in a fully mature oak tree and plant it in the garden and expect it to be vibrant without there being some missteps along the way. And it's okay to try new things every once in a while, and just don't be surprised if it just doesn't take, because every church is different. Every organization and the people and the dynamics in that organization are different. And so people just need time to adjust sometimes. So just take it easy, take it slow, and let the system reveal its usefulness to people over time. We've been doing this. I've been leaning in on this for, like I said, almost 10 years. And there are some areas where it's like people are finally kind of catching up and saying, oh yeah, this is really, really helpful. I didn't realize you could do this, right? And so just one step at a time, one bite at a time. Be patient with your people, be patient with your staff, be patient with your leaders, and be patient with yourself. But they keep in mind a long-term perspective, right? Recognizing that healthy systems aren't built overnight, but just imagine where you want this to go in 5, 10, 15 years, so that the things that you're doing now are towards that end. So one thing I want to be very clear on, this technology is a tool, okay? Ministry is about people. It's about relationships. It's about the Spirit of God being at work. The tool is just a gift that we can use to help, because there's so much information out there. There's so much going on in a very scattered-brained world in culture we are these days, right? So this tool helps us to kind of really capture very well and clearly where our people are at as we seek to shepherd our church families well. And so while efficiency happens, it's not about the tasks being accomplished, so that's important. It's more about the care, and about the people. And so just keep that in mind. Now, the last thing that I just want to say is that, and just give you a word of encouragement from Jeremiah. The prophet Jeremiah says in Jeremiah 17, he says, "The person who trusts in the Lord, it says, whose confidence indeed is the Lord, is blessed. You'll be like a tree planted by water. It sends its roots out toward a stream. It does not fear when heat comes, and its foliage remains green. It will not worry in a year of drought or cease producing fruit." That word continues to just rest really deeply in my soul as I think about the many ways that we as God's people are called to be rooted and planted and to send our roots out to Him. And I see those roots as the means of grace, the many ways that God ministers to us by His Holy Spirit, in which we receive life and joy in the midst of a very dry and arid land, right? In the midst of the wilderness of life under the sun, right? We need the life-giving peace and joy and fruit of the Spirit that comes from God, right? And there's so many ways we do this. You personally should be doing this by just your time in the Word. All of us should. Anybody who's a follower of Jesus should be drawing life from His Word, because that is breathed out by the Spirit of God and ministers life to our souls, right? But then also, through the interactions we have with other members of the church, and through the preaching of the word on Sunday morning, and through serving. So many times when we're serving, actually, we're there and we're watching the Spirit of God work, and the Spirit of God at work in other people's lives and in our lives is life-giving on so many different levels, right? And so this produces fruit and growth and maturity. And imagine that sapling becoming a more mature tree, and that trunk getting wider and wider, and the foliage being fuller, and the fruit coming down, being more productive. And you can't even eat all that fruit for yourself. So you want to share that. And so then everybody else in the garden is blessed by the fruit that's produced there, right? And so even then, when the heat comes and in the year of drought, the Lord is able to hold us steady in those times. And so we want to utilize this tool to help people be rooted and planted in the church in that way. That's my heart. I hope that that is your heart. That should be the hearts of our churches. And so as we go on, as you have questions, feel free to reach out with what questions you have, or about different things that we can use Planning Center for. I'll create tutorials for those things, because I've been doing this for 10 years. There may be some things that you wanted to do that may not be able to do, or I'm not quite sure. I haven't seen yet that it's been able to do, but we'll figure it out. The Planning Center online community, I'm not moderating that in any way, shape, or form, but I see those questions out there, so I'll draw from that to help generate content as well. But if you have questions, feel free to reach out. I'd love to chat. So have a great day.